Good afternoon and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Defining Virtuosity. My name is Odin Rathnam and I'm professor of violin at Cleveland State University. Today we will continue our work in the Wohlfahrt studies books 1 and 2, and I'd like to start with number 5, marked Moderato. Generally speaking, I like to consider two distinctly different moderato tempi. The first is a moderato tempo by the bar. The second is a moderato tempo by the beat. Obviously, the one by the beat is quite a bit slower than the one by the bar. I teach the seventh variation first. That is slurs across the entire measure, and I do that to bring the student into direct consciousness of their left hand actions. By slurring, we have to articulate clearly all lifts and drops in the right tetrachord shapes and frames in tune. It also is a slightly faster tempo. If we think of the moderato as a slow walking pace, 1, 1, 1, 1, and fit 6 notes into that pattern. That is the first way that I like to encourage my students to do it. If they're struggling with lifting and dropping quickly, this can of course be done much slower. Practicing number 5 with the various variations that are printed above, I like to do some of them at the slower moderato by beat tempo for larger strokes, martelets combined with détachés, and at the moderato tempo by the bar in 1 for combinations of slurs and brush strokes that are slightly bounced. So with that in mind, if we took the first variation, we could do a larger stroke of a slur, martelets, slur, and doing that strictly would be Now, when we combine slurs and martelets, there will sometimes be a tendency of the student to force the martelets instead of catching the string before the stroke and hanging at the elbow. This can happen actually in advanced players too. When I coach to correct very advanced players, they can lose sight of this and start forcing what should be a release. The actual sound of the martelets is a release. The pressure is before the note. Here we're hanging. But the actual releases, we're not bearing down into the string at the metronomic moment of sounding point, but releasing the string. So catch the string before, release, catch before, release, release, release. You know? I'll stand back and demonstrate a little bit about bow direction here. half bows at the tip go in and out, depending on whether we're going up or down. You'll see my arm going slightly outward in front of the body and in. That out and in motion is very, very healthy to train with these slower Martellet studies. There are also ones that result in the bowings being reversed by the bar. Another variation starts with a Martellet down bow at the tip, Now we can take any of these and do them faster. If we do them faster with the tempo that I did the slurred version at, we can introduce already at an early age to the students the idea of combining slurred and brushed strokes. For example, the first variation would be the second variation would be in these brush strokes. If the student has practiced a little bit of collé and lets the bow work for them in terms of its bouncing ability rather than trying to bounce, keeping the arm in a position as though we were remaining in the string and activating the fingers a little bit to catch, the bow at the balancing point will naturally start to somewhat hop a little bit. But we have to remember to curl the fingers and bend the thumbs on the slurs. And then to keep the fingers free, in the collé sense of free, this way, for the brush strokes. This stroke starts at the balancing point slower, and as the tempo is increased, goes a little bit lower in the higher in the stick towards the tip, and becomes faster and smaller in its range of motion. So when it's practiced slowly, use a greater range of motion in the fingers to help. When the motion becomes smaller, we do it a little bit smaller to make it easier to go faster. Just sort of like the concept of a basketball being bounced high, slow, and being dribbled closer to the ground when we dribble fast. The same sort of applies to the physics of the bow when we're playing. So there you have it, a few ways of practicing Etude number 5. I hope you enjoy this video, and please share and subscribe to my page. And I also want to thank very much the Wohlfahrt Etude sponsor, my dear friend and patron, Jim Grandin, for his generous contribution towards the recording of these videos. Stay tuned, there are more coming today.